Hello and welcome to highlights of the 1991 Spanish Grand Prix, brought to you by Micropose and GP2Joey. We're at the all-new Circuit De Catalunya on the outskirts of Barcelona for the 14th round of the season. At just over 2.9 miles long, the track has only just been completed and has yet to have its surface graced by a Formula One car, so it should make the weekend's action all the more exciting. Britain's Joey Davies was the winner last time out in Portugal, claiming his 9th career win for McLaren in an enthralling race that culminated in him holding off a charging Ayrton Senna. With only 3 races to go now, the battle for the title is getting ever closer, with McLaren's Alain Prost leading the way on 53 points, one ahead of Ferrari star Senna in second, with Nigel Mansell third for Williams and Davies 4 points away in fourth, with Jean Alesi in fifth. McLaren are holding strong in the Constructors' Championship ahead of Williams, whilst Ferrari are remaining in third. In the news, famed designer John Barnard would be returning to Ferrari next year before Footwork confirmed their cars would be powered by Mugen Honda, and Lotus confirmed Mika Hakkinen would be staying on for 1992 and the team would be using customer Ford engines, with Damon Hill understood to be close to replacing fellow Brit Martin Donnelly. Riccardo Patrese was then confirmed as Gerhard Berger's teammate at Joas for next year, before Jordan shocked many in declaring they had signed Hill instead of Lotus and that German rookie Heinz-Harald Frentzen would partner him. The new circuit saw its first action early on Friday morning, and as usual the 30-minute pre-qualifying session was manic, with drivers fighting to get their cars set up as best they could before going for a hot lap, and the subsequent average of each team's 2 drivers determining if they progressed further into the race weekend. In the end, it was Damon Hill who topped the timing screens ahead of Frenchman Eric Bernard and the impressive Finn JJ Leto, as Brabham, BMS Dallara and LaRousse were fastest overall, and the rest were forced to pack up early and head home. Despite Jordan's poor reliability record this year, Michael Schumacher impressed everyone once again in Friday's qualifying session, ending up 5th quickest, whilst Davies struggled to get his McLaren into an optimum setup window on his way to 3rd fastest. Senna, meantime, was in strong form, with the Brazilian looking likely to get the provisional pole for Ferrari. That was until Mansell emerged in the Williams in the last minute and went top of the timing screens, with teammate Jean Alesi in 6th and Prost struggling to only 12th place after a dismal showing. Afterwards, Footwork confirmed they'd signed Leto, much to the delight of his manager and former champ Keke Rosberg, and Brabham announced that they would be using Judd engines in 1992. Saturday's session was intense for the championship rivals, with Prost unable to better his 12th place finishing position, Senna trying his best to claim a 5th pole of the year, and Joey Davies going off in his quest to find more speed in the McLaren. It all meant Mansell remained unchallenged, with the Briton improving his best effort by another 10th of a second and claiming only his 3rd pole position of the season, whilst Gianni Morbidelli and Aguri Suzuki both failed to qualify. Afterwards, rumours circulated Derek Warwick could be making a return in 92 with Footwork, and Mark Blundell was surprisingly announced at Lotus for next year, which left a gutted current driver Martin Donnelly out in the cold. For the main championship contenders, Mansell was cautiously optimistic of victory on Sunday. Senna was aiming for the win and praying for Ferrari reliability, whilst at McLaren, Davies said his focus was purely on getting what points he could, and Prost said that only luck could help him. So it's Nigel Mansell on the pole with Ayrton Senna alongside him, Joey Davies and Martin Brundle on row 2. Row 3 is Michael Schumacher and Jean Alesi. Row 4 is Michael Andretti and Johnny Herbert. Row 5 is Nelson Piquet and Roberto Moreno. Row 6 is Gerhard Berger and Alain Prost. Row 7 is Andrea De Cesaris and Satoru Nakajima. Row 8 is Riccardo Patrese and Mika Hakkinen. Row 9 is Thierry Boutsen and Stefano Modena. Row 10 is Eric Comas and Martin Donnelly. Row 11 is Damon Hill and Eric Bernard. Row 12 is JJ Leto and Emanuele Pirro. And at the back it's Pierluigi Martini and Mark Blundell. We've had 2 days of glorious sunshine, but it's race day and it's overcast. What will today's race bring as the red lights come on? The engine revs rise and the 1991 Spanish Grand Prix is go! Davies makes a good start from third position, but so does Senna ahead of him, and Mansell's away well from the pole. It's Nigel Mansell on the run down to the hill to the first corner. Mansell's in the lead, it's Senna in second, Davies third, it's Alesi in fourth. Brundle's fifth as he breaks towards the first corner. It's Mansell holding the outside line and he's through. Joey Davies has passed Senna, so it's the McLaren into second place. Senna drops to third, and Andretti's fourth. It's Alesi fifth. Johnny Herbert's sixth. Prost is up to seventh from 12th on the grid. A phenomenal start from the four-time Frenchman. As Davies looks to make a move on Mansell into turn 4, he goes to the inside, he makes the lunge, and he's through. Davies leads, fantastic pass. Nigel Mansell gives him the space, and Andretti's up to 4th. But Joey Davies, fantastic couple of corners from him. He's gone from 3rd to 2nd to 1st. By the time we've even got round to the 4th corner, fantastic start from Joey Davies as he leads them through into the left and into the right now. He's got about a half a second lead over Nigel Mansell, and through Campsa is where Davies has been absolutely superb in the 2 days of pre-practice, and he's already built the gap up, but he struggles through the right and the left there, but he's through the Nissan chicane on the way down to the tight left-hand hairpin. He's under braking down from 130 miles an hour down to about 70 around the long left-hander. But already he's got a 6/10 of a second lead over Nigel Mansell. Senna's still third. And we're expecting this to be a 2 or a 1-stop tyre strategy race today. And Joey Davies, we understand he's opted for the 2 stops. But Mansell and possibly even Ayrton Senna are both opting for just a single tyre stop. So they are going to have to really manage their tyres. As Davies leads them across the line, he's got a 1.8 second lead. Fantastic opening lap from the young Briton. Let's take a look at the replay. It's a very good start from all 3 of them at the front there. Mansell got away very well, and so did Ayrton Senna in the Ferrari, and Joey Davies for once making a very good start in the McLaren. Very long run now on the way down to the first corner, and I think he probably thought about it, but then realised he was too far back to try and take Nigel Mansell, but he'd already managed to get past Ayrton Senna, so a fantastic couple of corners there from Joey Davies. And who's this? Is this Alesi? This is Jean Alesi. He's trying to make a move on Andretti, so Michael Andretti must have got past the Frenchman at some point. As we look at Häkkinen, that's Häkkinen on one of the Joas drivers. I think that's Prix going through. And Häkkinen, who just had his contract renewed at Lotus for next year, and he's impressing already down in 13th position. But there's Senna in 3rd with Mansell, 8 seconds away from Joey Davies. A phenomenal first 5 laps from the Englishman. He's rocketing ahead now. He's 9 seconds to the good, with Martin Brundle up into 4th place. And he's going very strongly in the footwork, which has really surprised a lot of people this weekend. Footwork have struggled a lot this year as Moreno looks to make a move on Brundle's teammate. That's Johnny Herbert down into the first turn. There's nothing doing there. He can't get through. Phenomenal defensive driving there from Johnny Herbert. That's very impressive. Once again, he's been very impressive this year as we see Ayrton Senna coming under attack. That's Brundle! Brundle's trying to make a move on Senna into the first turn, and he's through. Senna has to yield, he has to give way, and that's going to give Jean Alesi the opportunity, surely, to pass, to make a move on Senna, going up out of the 3rd turn and into turn 4. Senna's surely going to have to go defensive, but Alesi's got a very good run on him. He makes a move, it's a last-second lunge, and the Frenchman goes through. Fantastic stuff. What a performance drive from Jean Alesi. It's Brundle up into 3rd place now, and he is catching Nigel Mansell as we ride on board. That's Emanuele Pirro in the BMS Dallara. And there's Mansell. Mansell's got Martin Brundle all over his gearbox in the Williams. But Brundle's going to go through Mansell, we understand, yep, as we said earlier, he's only making 1 stop today, so he's going to yield the position to Martin Brundle, who, like Davies up front, is on a 2-tyre strategy. But Senna's losing ground all the time, and here's Davies. He's through the final few turns now. He's absolutely flat out, 17.9 seconds to the good. What an opening stint from the Englishman. Fantastic performance. There's one of the cars pulling over there. That's a Ferrari pulling off. That's a BMS Dallara. That's Emanuele Pirro. Pirro's out of the race, and the last thing I heard, he's not actually driving for Ferrari. No, but look at this. Who's this? This is surely Häkkinen and Patrese once more. As Häkkinen looks to make a move in the Lotus, he makes a lunge. He's going to go for it, but he can't do it. Look at that. Patrese just cuts across the front of the Lotus And there's another BMS Stellara. That's JJ Leto trying to get past one of the Larousses. That's Eric Bernard there. Leto not unable to get past the Larousse of Eric Bernard. So very good defensive driving from those two. And Häkkinen pulls off. Mika Häkkinen, he's out. Phenomenal development here in Barcelona. Mika Häkkinen's out as Nelson Piquet looks to make a move on Senna. And Senna is dropping back. I'm not sure if he's got some sort of a technical problem with his Ferrari, but surely he shouldn't be dropping this far back off the front because he's over 30 seconds. He's lost nearly 2 seconds a lap to Davies. That's Schumacher slowing. Schumacher! Michael Schumacher yet again. Ever since he made his debut in Belgium, he's only had one finish, and yet again, the young German is out. He's retiring his Jordan. And Andretti's across the line with smoke pouring out of the back of his Ferrari. Michael Andretti is going to be out in the Ferrari. This is fantastic. Michael Andretti is out as that's one of the McLarens looking to get past Thierry Boutsen. I think that's Joey Davies there. Davies just runs Boutsen out wide. I think that Boutsen probably annoyed Davies there somewhat, and he just gave him a little shove to remind him who's the race leader as Alain Prost comes into the pits for the first time. And Brundle was up into second place, but he's closed the gap on Davies now. It's 15.5 seconds and Joey Davies is into the pits. He's on the brakes, he's on the jacks, a little wipe of the visor from the chief mechanic. They're so good at wiping the visor for this driver. It's a fantastic stop. It wants to be about 10 seconds. It's 9.6. That's a good stop from the McLaren boys. But Brundle has elected to stay out, and so has Jean Alesi. So Davies drops to fourth, but he's making a move on Mansell. Look at this. He's got through. Davies, he managed to get out of the pits just in front of Nigel Mansell. Fantastic racing. Look at this. Mansell's yet to stop, and Davies cannot afford to let Mansell get past him as Brundle comes into the pits. Martin Brundle into the pits, the race leader with Jean Alesi. That's going to elevate Alesi into first position now. And Senna! Senna's pulling off. Senna's pulling off at turn 11, and his Brundle comes into the pits, but Ayrton Senna, what a dramatic turn of events this is going to have for the World Championship. Senna is out of the Grand Prix. Unbelievable. What is happening at Ferrari? They've had 2 retirements. We're not even at half distance as Piquet looks to make a move on Johnny Herbert. But yet again, the young Englishman defends as Brundle closes on Mansell. Look at this. They're only separated by half a second. Brundle's going to try and make a move out of turn 3. Is he going to be able to slip it up the inside like he did to Senna earlier? We're on board with Mansell, but Brundle's already pulled up alongside the Williams, and he's through. Martin Brundle, he's in fine form today. Well, I'm not sure if Martin Brundle's had some sort of petrol for his breakfast, because he seems to have a few more horses in his galloping stables, as Brundle is definitely closing the gap now to Joey Davies. It's 5.6 seconds with Mansell 10.6 further behind. And Jean Alesi's in 4th. When Alain Prost is up into 5th place with Roberto Moreno in 6th and Piquet in 7th because he's just passed Johnny Herbert, unseen by the TV cameras. But Gerhard Berger is in 9th place in the Joeys, with Satoru Nakajima in the Tyrrell Honda in 10th. Fantastic racing right the way through the field. This is Pierluigi Martini, and we're on board now. Is this Alain Prost? This is Davies. Davies has got Brundle now all over his gearbox. Martin Brundle has really closed the gap. He has! Look at this! Davies has closed the gap. He's lost it. Brundle's gone through. Brundle takes the lead away from Joey Davies down into turn 1. Davies tries to narrow the gap. He can't do it. He locks up right front, and Brundle goes through. Fantastic driving from the 2 Brits, with Jean Alesi in 3rd place. Nigel Mansell's dropped to 4th because he hasn't known. We thought he'd made a tyre stop, but Alesi's actually got past him. Mansell's desperately trying to look after his tyres as Davies comes on the attack on the outside. Brundle just defends the line. Fantastic. And it's a spin. That's Boutsen. Thierry Boutsen spun his Ligier. He collects Mark Blundell's Brabham. And one of the Joeys Porsches just about manages to scrape past. But Thierry Boutsen's going to drop down the order as Nigel Mansell comes into the pits in the Williams. Mansell's into the pits now. This is going to be critical because Joey Davies and Martin Brundle are embroiled in a complete battle over the lead now. And I think that they're both coming into the pits together, with Jean Alesi going into the lead now. And that's Thierry Boutsen trying to pass one of the Joeys Porsches. That's Riccardo Patrese. Are we going to see Davies and Brundle in the pits? Here we are. So Joey Davies comes in, Brundle pulls into his marks. And what's going to happen with Davies? Because the 2 race leaders have come in together at the same time. But Nigel Mansell is across the line yet again, and he wants to be absolutely closing the gap as much as he possibly can as Riccardo Patrese comes into the pits in the Joas Porsche. Fantastic racing here all the way through with Alain Prost. Look at this. This is Prost, and he's got one of the Benettons of Roberto Moreno right behind him. And that's one of the Joas Porsches right behind him. And look at this. Brundle and Joey Davies racing neck and neck. Davies just slips it up the inside of Brundle, and he is through. And these two, they are 13 seconds ahead of Nigel Mansell in third place now. But Davies has another look because Brundle's got past him. Look at this fantastic racing. This is really what you want to see. This is what happens when you've got rainy, overcast conditions, and the drivers make all the difference, because Nigel Mansell now, he's only 7 seconds away from the top two. Nigel Mansell is catching Joey Davies and Martin Brundle absolutely hand over fist. What an enthralling finish to the race we have in prospect here. And Davies is going defensive. He's already got past Brundle, but he's holding the inside line as much as he possibly can. Brundle's weaving this way and that way, but he can't get through. That was pretty harsh driving from Davies, but he covered the line quite fairly, I fear. And Brundle is absolutely trying everything he can as Prost comes under attack. Prost is under attack from one of the Joas Porsches, and that's Patrese not even trying. But look at this. They're three together. It's Brundle on the inside. Davies is going to go around the outside, and Nigel Mansell has caught him up. And Brundle holds it up. He holds it around the outside. Davies has to yield, and he's through. Nigel Mansell has caught the two race leaders. Brundle takes the lead, and he's off. Brundle's up in the footwork. Davies takes over the lead. He goes into second place, and Nigel Mansell's going to try and bounce, and he goes for it, and Mansell takes the lead. Unbelievable racing here in Barcelona. It's Nigel Mansell in the lead. Joey Davies is in second place. Martin Brundle drops back to third, having got off in the footwork, as JJ Leto tries once again to pass Eric Bernard. But what is happening up the front, Mr. TV Director? This is crucial for the World Championship. Mansell and Davies and Brundle, they are racing absolutely neck and neck, trying everything they possibly can to win this race today. Brundle's slowing. Martin Brundle's slowing. Brundle! He's slowing. He's out. Oh my goodness. He's had such poor reliability this year, and it looks like it's set to continue here in Spain because Martin Brundle is out of the Grand Prix. And look at this. It's Mansell. It's Davies. They've only got a few laps to go. Davies covers the inside line. Mansell's trying everything he possibly can to find a way ahead of the McLaren and Davies. He covers the outside line, but Mansell's already got a run on him up the inside. Davies tries to narrow the gap under braking. He can't do it. Mansell's through. Nigel Mansell takes the lead. It's Piquet in third with Johnny Herbert in fourth. Moreno is in fifth. Prost is sixth. Nakajima seventh. Brundle is going to be out, and that is going to elevate Gerhard Berger and Thierry Boutsen up a place. But look at this, Davies. He's going to try and make a lunge on Mansell into the hairpin, and he's through. Fantastic racing. Look at this from these two. This is absolutely superb. We've got two Brits absolutely at the top of their game. Nigel Mansell and Joey Davies, both of them desperately trying to get their first World Championship. And I don't think that Mansell's going to be able to find a way back past him because Joey Davies, he runs a little bit wide over the curbing there. And that's enabled Mansell to close the gap. The gap is less than half a second between these two. But this is where Mansell's been very strong through the Nissan chicane. And look at this, he closes right up on Joey Davies. Davies goes defensive. Mansell makes a lunge on the inside, and they're going to touch. They do, they touch wheels. But Mansell goes through. It's Nigel Mansell ahead of Davies. Fantastic stuff. This is quite extraordinary. Mansell has got Davies all over his earphones. I think you mean his mirrors. I think you mean he's got him in his mirrors. And Davies is going to try and make a move yet again. And he's through. He locks up. Where's Mansell? Mansell holds it around the outside. And look at this. They're side by side through turn two. Fantastic stuff. Please, Mr. TV Director, let's stay with this because we want to see an epic finish to the Spanish Grand Prix. Is Davies going to be able to make a lunge? He's too far back. He can't do anything about it there. Mansell's got it covered into turn four. Fantastic stuff. This is absolutely incredible. Tenacious driving from both of them. Nigel Mansell defending his line brilliantly with Joey Davies. He's like an angry young Rottweiler, desperately trying to do everything he possibly can to find his way past the team that he used to drive for, that Williams. But Joey Davies has really come into his own this year, the last few races in particular, and I think either one of these two will fully deserve their first World Championship. And Davies is going to make a move. He can't do it. bailed out of it at the last second. Nigel Mansell covered the gap. Is he going to be able to close up now? Because Mansell's got nearly 1 second gap over him. But this is where Davies has been very, very quick through the final sector here. And you can see, look how late he's on the brakes. He almost runs into the back of the Williams now. They've only got one more lap to go as he has a look and he can't do it there. But Davies has been so much faster than Nigel Mansell through the final sector. But I think that Mansell is going to be able to hold him up. But look at this. They're into the final lap now. The final 2.9 miles to see who is going to win this epic Grand Prix. It's Joey Davies in second place. They are absolutely side by side at 200 miles an hour. Under braking into the first turn. Mansell's still got his nose in front. Davies locks up, but Mansell's still got the lead. Fantastic stuff. Davies has to back out of it. Is he going to be able to catch up to Nigel Mansell? Well, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that because Mansell's absolutely phenomenal through the first sector here. But Davies has a look, but there's nothing doing there as he locks up again into turn 4. And Joey Davies hasn't got very many corners yet to go. But I'm pretty sure that he is not going to give up now. Down into the tight left-hander, he locks up yet another right front wheel. And Davies is going to be absolutely trying everything he possibly can now because they're coming up towards the chicane, the left and the right. And Davies is so much faster through here than Nigel Mansell. And he's already all over the gearbox of the Williams. Mansell goes defensive. Davies has to back out of it. Into the Nissan chicane they come for the 65th and final time. And Mansell pulls out a gap. But Joey Davies, don't forget he's quite been fantastic through the final sector. But Mansell's got it covered. Is there anything that Davies can do now on the exit of the left-hander? He can't. Mansell goes defensive into the right-hander. What a finish we have in prospect. This is quite sensational. It's Mansell and Davies, the final 2 corners. Davies, there's nothing he can do there and he pulls out and he goes through it. Davies, he slams it up the inside and he's through. Incredible. Davies wins the Spanish Grand Prix. He does the Davies dance. He wins it incredibly at the final corner of the final lap. Unbelievable as Nelson Piquet rounds the penultimate corner. He's through the final turn past the pit entry and Nelson Piquet gets his first podium finish of the year. But unbelievable scenes here. The crowd are on their feet as Moreno crosses the final line. He takes 5th position with Alain Prost taking 6th for McLaren. But it's going to be his teammate Joey Davies who everybody is cheering. Davies wins arguably the most exciting Grand Prix I think I've ever seen. And look at this. He's doing the Davies Donuts. The Davies Donuts in celebration of his 10th career Formula One victory. What a drive! This was one of the greatest races surely in the history of Formula One and arguably the most exciting end to any Grand Prix. Davies' pass on Mansell was as brave as it was audacious and fueled opinions up and down the paddock that the 27-year-old Brit is more than deserving of a first world title this year. On the podium, Davies drank in the celebrations of the 130,000-day crowd and of course some champagne whilst a stunned McLaren boss Ron Dennis struggled to come to terms with what he just witnessed on the final lap. Mansell moaned that Davies' pass on him was reckless and Piquet was just delighted to have claimed his first podium of the year. Prost was relieved to have finished the race after struggling with gearbox issues and an irate Senna slammed Ferrari for suffering a critical retirement in his bid to defend his crown, whilst an upset Brundle said he couldn't wait for his move out of footwork for next year. It all means Davies leads the championship for the first time this year on 59 points, 3 ahead of Mansell in 3rd, 5 ahead of 3rd place Prost and Senna 4th, 7 points adrift. In the Constructors' Championship, McLaren are nearing another title with Williams 23 points shy in 2nd and Ferrari languishing in 3rd as the battle for 4th rages between Footwork and Benetton. There are but 2 races to go in this most exciting of seasons, and with 4 drivers now in the hunt for the championship, we are all set for the penultimate round in Japan. Can Davies win the title in the Far East, or will we have an all-out decider down under in Australia? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for round 15 of the 1991 Formula One World Championship in Suzuka.